The Ibom Air incident involving Comfort Emmanson has taken over public discussion in recent days. It began during a flight from Uyo to Lagos when a member of the cabin crew instructed her to switch off her phone. According to reports, she refused. Another passenger reached over and turned it off for her, and that triggered a major confrontation. Witnesses say she pulled off the cabin crew's wig, removed their glasses, slapped them several times, and even picked up a fire extinguisher in the heat of the argument. The tension inside the aircraft escalated quickly. Security officers and some passengers stepped in to restrain her, and she was eventually removed from the plane. Videos of the entire scene spread across social media within hours. Reactions were sharply divided. Some people insisted she should have followed the rules from the start, while others felt the crew had overreacted. Soon after, the Nigerian Bar Association entered the matter, stating that the airline's lifetime ban on her was excessive. They demanded the ban be lifted and asked the airline to publicly apologize. Comfort was taken to Kirikiri Prison, which shocked many who believed the incident could have been handled without criminal charges. Then came the government's intervention. Minister of Aviation Festus Keyamo announced that the criminal case against Comfort would be withdrawn. He said she had shown remorse and promised not to repeat the offense. Her lawyer later confirmed that she had not yet decided whether she would sue Ibom Air. However, the Foundation for Investigative Journalism reported that Ibom Air never actually wanted to take her to court. According to their findings, the airline realized their legal position was weak and preferred to avoid further negative publicity. This information created more questions about whether the legal process was driven by the airline or by the authorities. While this was unfolding, another aviation-related story made headlines. Fuji music legend Wasiu Ayinde, known as K1, had earlier faced a ban from ValueJet after an in-flight disagreement. The Minister of Aviation has now reduced his ban to 1 month and appointed him as an aviation ambassador to promote good passenger conduct. For some people, this is a positive example of turning a negative incident into public education. For others, it raises the question of whether famous individuals receive lighter treatment than ordinary citizens. These two cases highlight the delicate balance between enforcing safety rules and managing public relations. Airlines must ensure safety, but passengers also have rights that should be respected. The Comfort Emmanson case shows how quickly a routine instruction can spiral into a national debate. It also demonstrates the growing influence of public opinion. Without viral videos, media attention, and legal advocacy, the outcome might have been very different. Going forward, all eyes will be on whether Comfort proceeds with her lawsuit and how K1 uses his ambassador role. The government's approach appears to combine forgiveness with public messaging, but the question remains, would the same consideration be given to someone without fame or public support? Please remember to like this video and subscribe because developments in these stories are still unfolding. When you look closely at the Comfort Emmanson situations, you realize it is more than just one passenger refusing to switch off a phone. It has become a case study in how rules, human behavior, public opinion, and government decisions interact in Nigeria. This is why it has captured so much attention. First, let's think about what happens inside the plane before takeoff. The cabin crew are trained to maintain absolute control of the environment. Phones are switched off not just for formality, but to ensure there is no interference with navigation systems during critical phases of flight. Even if modern technology has reduced the risk, the rule remains standard worldwide. That means every passenger is expected to comply. In Comfort's case, the decision to keep her phone on broke that basic rule. Once the cabin crew noticed, they addressed it. But here is where human reaction comes in. Sometimes it is not what is said, but how it is said that sparks conflict. We do not have full audio from the incident, but we do know emotions flared instantly. Another passenger turning off her phone may have been the point where she felt disrespected. From there, everything went downhill fast. Slaps, removal of the crew's wig, grabbing of the fire extinguisher. Now here's the part people don't always see. Inside that confined space, with other passengers watching, the airline has to consider safety first. The decision to remove her from the plane was not just about discipline, but about preventing further escalation. But how that removal was handled is where the NBA and many members of the public took issue. Some felt she was treated in a way that was unnecessarily humiliating. Please remember to like this video and subscribe, because in a moment I will connect this case to a pattern we have seen in other public incidents in Nigeria. The immediate transfer to police custody and then to Kirikiri Prison made the situation far more serious. For many Nigerians, this was shocking. After all, prison is for convicted criminals, not for people still awaiting trial for a non-violent offense, especially one linked to an in-flight disagreement. This is why the NBA stepped in. Their statement was strong. They called the lifetime ban unjust. They demanded a review, and they asked the airline to apologize. Then we saw the government take center stage. Festus Keyamo, as Minister of Aviation, stepped in to calm the waters. He announced that the criminal complaint would be withdrawn, describing Comfort as remorseful and deserving of another chance. On the surface, this looked like a resolution, but investigative reporting from FIJ complicated the picture. According to FIJ, Ibom Air had no desire to take Comfort to court in the first place. They allegedly knew their case was weak and simply wanted the incident to fade from public attention. If this is true, then the entire prison episode was avoidable. It would also mean that the criminal complaint may have been driven more by external pressure than by the airline's own decision. This leads us to the K1 development. Wasiu Ayinde, popularly known as K1, faced his own travel dispute recently with ValueJet. In his case, a ban was announced, but then reduced to 1 month. Even more surprising, he was appointed an aviation ambassador to encourage passengers to follow rules and maintain proper behavior on flights. Now think about the optics here. 2 high-profile cases in the same sector. One involving a regular passenger whose treatment sparked legal and public outrage, and another involving a music legend whose punishment was softened and turned into a public relations opportunity. These contrasts make people ask, does fame or public influence change the way justice is applied? This is not a new question in Nigeria. We have seen similar patterns in politics, entertainment, and business. When a famous figure is involved, cases often move faster, penalties are sometimes reduced, and outcomes are framed in ways that preserve public image. But when ordinary citizens face similar issues, the process is slower, harsher, and with less media coverage. Please don't forget to like this video and subscribe, because this is where the story widens. We can now look at how incidents like this affect public trust in institutions. The Comfort case has already changed how many Nigerians view the relationship between airlines, the law, and the government. It shows that public pressure through social media, legal bodies, and investigative journalism can influence outcomes. It also shows that airlines must be careful in how they handle incidents, because in the age of smartphones, any confrontation can be recorded, shared, and judged by millions. Looking ahead, Comfort's lawyer has hinted that legal action against Ibom Air is still possible. If she takes that step, it will test whether Nigerian courts are willing to hold airlines accountable for how they treat passengers, even when passengers are in the wrong. On the other side, Ibom Air might seek to settle privately to avoid further publicity. As for K1, the ambassador role will be closely watched. If it becomes an active campaign, with appearances at airports, media messages, and visible outreach, it could be a creative way to promote better passenger behavior. But if it remains just a title, it will likely be seen as a symbolic gesture rather than a real initiative. In both cases, the central theme is the balance between enforcing rules and maintaining fairness. Rules are necessary, but they must be applied with consistency and respect for all passengers, regardless of status. When the public senses a double standard, confidence in the system declines. This is why today's headline about the aftermath of the Ibom Air incident, Comfort's release, and K1's new role has resonated so strongly. It is not just about aviation. It is about fairness, accountability, and the power of public voice in shaping decisions in Nigeria. If you are still with me now, I can continue by exploring other similar incidents in recent Nigerian history, linking them to this case so that your viewers see the bigger picture of how public image and legal outcomes are often connected.